Started, we're going to do a couple things tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Trinitas and some of the things coming up, and then Pastor Jake's going to lead us in worship, and then Pastor Robert's going to lead us into a short time talking about our third cultural value of incarnational presence, which is one that is going to be really important for us. But to start, and after a few very good full retreat meals, a hot time at the beach, Taylor's going to help us get the blood flowing with the game of Would You Rather. Okay?
Are you on this? Who's on this?
I got that. I have the children. Okay, so you need to stand up, maybe do a stretch, get your body warmed up,
Thank you, my
do a
question.
couple jumping jacks,
Okay,
stand up, do a little twist, twist,
full stretch.
got a little bit left, okay? Little bit left.
Star pose.
Star pose,
Okay, you can
stretch it out first.
You can be. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, take us away.
Okay, so this is Would You Rather, and how it's going to work is I'll point to one side of the room that you will go to for one option, and the other side of the room for the other option. So it's very simple in that way. I'll just say, would you rather be a turkey or a dog, for example? If you'd rather be a turkey, go to this side. If you'd rather be a dog, go to that side. And then we just marvel at, it's the same, it's different, whatever. And then, so I have some questions, and then I would like to open mic it for at least one or two other people to make up their own question, and also, serve that to our group, okay? So, would you rather wear wet socks every day for the rest of your life, or only be allowed to wash your hair once a year?
Oh. Yeah, that's
Okay, yeah, only
I can shave easy.
handle it.
Socks are over here?
I think French socks are more like everything. I can do it real long.
It's terrible, though. It's terrible. Wet socks, only wash your hair once a year.
Are you crazy?
That's short, guys.
Wet socks?
Socks, hold here, come on.
Alright.
I can.
Okay, okay.
Taylor likes it. You like wet socks. All the people with nice hair.
We have some tensions. Okay, next one. So this is, we're getting weird. It's fine. Would you rather have a finger as a tongue
What?
or have 10 tongues as fingers?
That reminds me of a text where it's 4 times wrong.
Wow, let's take a wet sock. Okay, Taylor, you gotta say, would you rather have 10 tongues as fingers or your finger as your tongue? Okay? Tongue fingers, finger tongues. I think that's all.
Wait, I need some yes.
Okay, these people would rather have a finger as their tongue, and you all would like to have 10 tongues as fingers, little tentacles. Okay, would you rather never have internet access again, or never be able to drive in or ride in a car again?
I'm already on. Practically on.
You also can ride in a car.
No internet.
No internet, no car, no ride, no driving.
You look for it's us.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Things are going on.
That's the other
Larry, you make a choice.
I am straight out of James 1.
Here you are.
Okay, this one's simple but telling. Would you rather eat a burger or eat a taco? Burger or taco?
That's easy.
Tacos are a failure as a food delivery mechanism.
Good. Depends on my mood, really.
All right. Okay. This is it. We got a lot of taco people. Says a lot. We don't keep working. Okay, a couple more. Would you rather have the chance to travel the world for a year or be able to speak 10 languages fluently? Travel the world for a year, speak 10 languages fluently.
That's hard. I think I'm gonna travel.
Yoki already speaks 10 languages, right?
Or travel, or, oh, yeah.
I'd like to be able to speak 9 languages.
Okay.
They already traveled, so, hello.
I know.
Moving to the place that they don't.
I think they would want to know.
Yeah?
No, they're good, as long as they know.
Oh, okay, last one. Would you rather win an award for a scientific discovery or a work of art?
Oh. What's the difference?
Art?
Or
Science.
I think programming languages are a work of art.
There you go.
Yeah. It's art. Computer games are art.
I'm not a scientist, Ron.
Scientific discovery or a work of art? Yeah, win an award for one of these. Okay.
Yeah.
Robert's like, what, which one makes me more money?
Not ours.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like at least one volunteer who would like to conjure up a couple of would you rather questions.
I have a good one too.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, Ian and Gloria. Okay.
Ian and I don't.
Ian and Megan.
You can never have dessert ever again, or you can never have salty snacks ever again.
Ooh, that's tough.
No more dessert, no more sugary desserts, no more salty snacks.
When you give up dessert.
No phone.
You give up
No
dessert. See, definitely getting up. See you guys. No.
I can see.
Salt sucks. Oh, my toddler.
Wow.
I got one more. Never have to sleep ever again, no repercussions. Never have to eat ever again,
Also, no repercussions.
no repercussions.
I'm excited.
Would you rather go
Oh, I
and
love
sleep or
eating,
eat?
but I also love eating.
I feel the sorry.
Well, just because you never have to doesn't mean you can't, right?
I hope not, because then it's really horrible.
In that case, I'm probably going.
I guess I'm the only person who can know something over here.
I'm coming over here,
It's more about-
but I like sleeping.
I know. I have so much trouble feeding myself properly, so I should probably should be on.
I'm getting on that side, both for desserts. No more allergies, right? Okay.
What?
No more allergies.
Yeah.
Is it my
Can I
turn?
test your fears? Jump out of an airplane with a parachute, skydiving?
What?
Skydive?
With a parachute. Okay.
Parachute, yes.
Jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Or have a bucket of spiders dumped on you.
I'll go with this one.
I mean,
Your eyes, your spiders.
I'm going with spiders.
I'm not the spider webs over here.
And these two kinds of people, okay? You're in a room full of 100 people.
Put the mic closer.
Oh, is it? You're in a room of 100 people. Would you rather give a speech or sing? Sing. Sing.
Doesn't have to be a good speech.
Wait, you said? It's not necessarily what you brought.
Usually I say 1,000 people.
This guy will represent us.
Let's see.
You're just in the room seeing everyone else.
Wait,
Oh, wait, are you sitting by yourself?
Wait, never make a math mistake again? Or would you rather be able to hit anything you aim at?
Hit anything you aim at, is that a second choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
So math is on his side?
Yes. Never make a math mistake.
I'm just gonna take this out.
Sure, let me experiment with math.
Depends on how you define math.
No math equal tells.
You know, you make a lot of money. That's making a math mistake.
You want to put the wet
Okay.
sauce thing, which I just.
Would you rather pick up a snail or a crab?
I know, yeah. This is.
Snail or a crab?
I know,
Crab sounds cool.
As long as it's different, doesn't matter the next day.
That's true. I just said, well, I'm careful.
I'm shocked.
All right, somebody else.
Diggins.
Last one.
Snails have a
Trying to
handle.
get as awkward as possible.
I like to ask ones that are actually possible.
All mine are inappropriate. Did we have one more?
Yeah. You got the big.
All mine are inappropriate. huh?
Yep.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh my God. I'm really regretting grabbing the microphone. I don't have it. Jamie, give me, yeah.
Would you rather go to Disneyland or would you rather go?
Not to Disneyland. Rather go to Disneyland or not go anywhere. This is fully funded. You're going to Disneyland or you're staying at home.
We get to keep the money?
Who wants to stay at home? Keith, get over there now. Keith, do not stay on that spot. No, you stay. You're European.
We hang out.
Yeah.
All right.
You're a district was the king.
We hang out.
Okay, good job. We learned
You get the
a
most.
lot. We
You
learned a
get
lot.
the most.
Well, let's take a seat for a second. Oh,
The trick, you can make us sing.
it's a trick. No. Well, everyone, we are going. Everyone say goodnight to Iona. Okay, friends, we're gonna. So we want to do a couple of things. I didn't really think about Labor Day, so we got to the beach late, got back late. So we're gonna kind of bring these two things together. Hopefully this part, unless you have a lot of really in-depth questions, just want to leave about 10 or 15 minutes for. And then Pastor Jake will lead us in worship and Robert will share for a few minutes and then we'll close out tonight. I wanted to take just a little bit of time, and I know we have some New Life Church people here tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about why both churches are together. But for many of us, we are coming into this room from what was two different churches to begin the journey of forming one new church. And my hope for this retreat was kind of like it would function like the starting line of that journey. That a lot of us went through this last year, churches closing, churches not sure about what is next, and all of those things. And it has led us, and those who have decided to stay on the journey to this point, at least for our Palo Alto and Santa Clara friends, of starting Trinitas Silicon Valley. And I just wanted to make some space to talk about a couple of things, but I just kind of want to open it up if there are any questions. If there aren't, I'll just dive into these couple things. And if you have a question, as I'm sharing, just raise your hand and I will pause and try and give you the best answer I have, which might be I don't know. Okay? So, does anyone just have any questions, any kind of feedback, things they want to think about where we're going, what we're doing? Or should I start?
You have a 23-step plan where you're going?
No. I don't know if it's 23 steps, it might be 34 numbers. Yeah, Olivia.
Is this one church, all house at one address? Or is it one church at 3 different addresses?
That's a great question. So very, as simply as I can put it, New Life Church Cupertino is one church. And Trinitas Silicon Valley is one church. Trinitas, we technically have a building in Santa Clara, what was the building of Santa Clara Church of the Nazarene. But the style of ministry that we are trying to pursue is a balance between having an address where we get together and being spread out throughout Silicon Valley, South Bay. So we want to get away from the thinking that says church is an address and begin to really believe that church is this. Okay? The church is not a building. That word has never meant that. The church is a people who are on mission together, living life together. And so we have decided, part of the reason we're calling it Silicon Valley is intentionally larger and big, because the people who have come together from these two churches are spread out throughout the South Bay. Personally, I'm in Santa Clara. I feel very drawn to Santa Clara and San Jose. It's where I need to be on mission. But I really care about the whole of the South Bay, and really believe that, God has us together for a reason. So that's the best way I can answer that at this point, Olivia. So technically, yes, we have an address, but that address is merely a tool. It's not how we see the church. But we are two churches now working together. Any other questions? Or anything? Yeah, Amber.
I have one that I want to know, the spiritual side on how you guys communicate.
Yes, that is a great question. I will try and give a 3 to 4 minute version of that. So, a year and a half ago, every church in this room was thinking about, feeling close to, understanding the possibility of closing. I think I'm correct in saying. I know part of the reason that Cupertino stayed open was because of the way that Robert and Crystal were kind of drawn. I know there were, questions, tensions, what do we do next? And I know Pastor Christine Hung stepped in and led beautifully. And so when I was called to Santa Clara, I was given a job description which was very open to multiple possibilities of changing and transitioning the ministry of Santa Clara to a different kind of church. So that prayerful discernment led to talking to Robert and Crystal, our friends, which then led to them talking to Cupertino. And we got on the ground really saying, we're not sure where this is going to go. But what we were certain about, for us four, was that God wanted us to work on something together. Okay? So we knew no matter what we were going to do, we would have churches working closely together. As we in Santa Clara began to kind of discern where we were at, we said that we felt like we needed to let Santa Clara end and to plant a new church. During that time, and Pastor Jake, correct me if I get anything wrong, Palo Alto made the decision to close, and through a series of conversations that unfolded, Pastor Jake and I began to talk about what it would look like to plant one new, different kind of church together. At the same time, Robert, Crystal, and Taylor and I were saying, we feel called to just work together but we don't feel like we need to be one church, that we can be two churches working on all of these things together. And it's been a bit of a practical journey. There is some strength in numbers, in synergy, and working together. The South Bay is not small, but it is also not as long of a drive across as how a lot of other churches operate in their reach of people. And so we felt like we're compact enough to be in ministry together. When I do my running group on Saturday mornings, I have people from all the way down from San Mateo to Milpitas. It just seems like for a lot of people, the way of life is lived in multiple cities. And so we felt practically, let's work together. New Life needs some revitalization, a new future. We, Santa Clara, need a new future. Carlton. So why not work together? It just happened that it made sense for various reasons for Palo Alto and Santa Clara to come under Trinitas, and for Trinitas and New Life to partner as two churches. Does that help? At the same time, there was a deep sense that, we went on a retreat 4 months ago. We had just started talking with Pastor Jake, and we just felt really clearly we need to keep going together. We need to keep praying together, working together, helping each other out as churches. In some ways, remaining two churches, but operating like one community. We're feeling like that's the kind of path laid out for us still. But we are, we're kind of thinking about this stuff every month, and in prayer, asking God, what are you doing? But this arrangement feels like our best attempt to say yes to God doing a new thing. So. Any other questions? Okay. Well, let me just share a couple things, and if any questions come up as I share them, then I just want to encourage you to raise a hand and vocalize it. It is helpful for us to hear that. First, I want to just make something really clear. We are planting Trinitas Silicon Valley. This is really on paper, and in reality, this is a new community. It is built up of people who were part of two different communities, and some other people who are beginning to be in orbit who have not been a part of any of our Nazarene churches. And when you plant a church, that does not happen overnight. There's no church plant where you do not bring together different people from different places and backgrounds and weave their life together. And very simply, the steps to planting a church, I think it's probably more complicated than this, or this makes it seem simple. I don't feel like it's simple after a year. But really,
It's simple, but not easy.
it's simple but not easy. Is you invite people, you build kind of a core community who says they're going to kind of build the culture and do life together and love one another and kind of form the nest that then eventually, if you launch more publicly or more accessibly, you can invite people into. Every church that you have ever been a part of, there was someone at the beginning who had 5 people or 10 people or 20 people who said, we feel called to do a new thing. And we get to live in their faith and add to that story when we join a church. But every church that has ever started like this. And so I want to encourage us, even though we're coming from all of these different things over the last year with our churches, to kind of turn a corner and just say, we're planting a church. However we got here is how we got here. But now what is in front of us is where are we going to go? And who are we going to be? And really this weekend was kind of a mental starting point for you on where the journey of what was before us began to end. Not all the good things from the past, those don't end, those carry with us. But where those things came to an end, and we started from the very beginning to build a new community. Okay? So we're not out here. This is not us. We're doing ministry, we're gonna have a service once a month, but in your mental framework, we're right here. Right? We're right at the start. Now, church happens across the whole way. Jesus is happening across the whole way. But I really want us to take the posture that we're starting fresh. We're starting new. We get to write a new story about what Trinitas Silicon Valley and what this church community will be. It's a blank slate for us. It's a new start. Any questions on that? Or comments? Comments are good too. Okay. So, just so you know, planning wise, I've laid out, and you can grab one of these, because I know life is busy and people are traveling, people are going places, and there's college and everything. I just thought it would be best to map out our Sundays till the spring. Okay? So mapped out our time through the fall, into Advent, into the spring, just to get an idea of where we're going. The rhythm that we have planned is really so that we would kind of be in a building phase, an inviting phase, a getting to know each other phase, building depth with one another, like we've been trying to do this weekend, beginning to get to know each other. I barely know some of you. I want to get to know you more. I want to do life as a church together. So this schedule is a way of kind of balancing our values, balancing church with our lives and our different things that are going on, and still being intentional about building culture together. So the basic schedule is that we will meet every first Sunday for worship, kind of bread and butter church. That doesn't work perfectly in Silicon Valley, but it still works for some people. Like I mentioned, there's some people coming to this on this Sunday. We're not church people, we're curious. It still has a place, and we want it to be a place where if you have someone who this might be the community for them, every first Sunday we will worship, we will lay out what's happening that month, and then people can participate in the different things as they're able to. And then we are going to gather at our house for the time being, although that might change in the future, on the second and fourth Sunday. And that's not going to be as much a service as it is a meal, discussion, practical discipleship. How are we actually taking these values and implementing them into our lives and building lives around the kingdom? And so you'll see on the calendar, I've mapped out how we're going to work through those values, really around different practices. It's not in that piece of paper, we haven't passed it out. But really trying to make it practical, ways we can actually tangibly depend on the Holy Spirit, be a beloved community, be present in our communities, and be empowering one another in our faith. So this is the schedule that we're going to kind of adapt. We'll take a little bit of a different time in Advent. And then summer, we had this practice in our church in Germany in the summer that we actually had more of a summer break. And the kind of schedule changed in the summer, and we went on mission trips. And I think that some kind of alternate schedule in the summer will be helpful for many of us. Won't mean we stop meeting necessarily, but we feel like we need to kind of take the next 5-6 months and see how this goes to determine what exactly the summer should look like. Yeah?
So is there gonna be overlap between Life Church and this, or?
Yes.
Or separate?
Yes, I'm going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
This Sunday is something we will continue to share together, the first Sunday.
Like we've been doing.
Like we've been doing. And we want to kind of keep talking about how kind of Pastor Robert and I have been talking, and want to talk with our boards, how we've been kind of stewarding that space, what are we thinking about it. But we will continue as two churches to share First Sunday together. And then just like New Life has church every Sunday that some of us go to, we want New Life people to know like they can always come to these. It could function like a small group for you. It could function, you know, in all sorts of different ways. Because one of the needs at New Life is also to kind of build up the discipleship strategy and how are we leading people in deepening faith. And so we want to kind of lean on each other for that. So the hope is that we would lean into these things together, but kind of the main way we want to partner I'll talk about in a second. Any other questions? For those of us in Trinitas, this third Sunday, we don't have anything. That's partly just being realistic about Sunday attendance in our world, but also because we want to value the things that aren't happening on Sunday. Okay? So if you are in Trinitas, and you're jumping into this, I want to stress to you as much as you can, be together on the second and fourth week. Get here if you can. That's great. But we really want to drill into that family time twice a month. And then a lot of what we're going to be doing is in these different projects, or what we're calling tables, getting people into smaller communities that is kind of woven into your Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday throughout your week. Okay. So the reason we left off that Sunday, and kind of the bread and butter of what we want to do, is to be a little bit more decentralized. Sunday for us is not the most important day of the week. Every day, Monday through Saturday, is where God is just as much at work as he is on Sunday. And so we want to experiment with two kinds of groups over the next year, what we're calling tables and what we're calling communities on mission. Tables, 3 to 7 people who are meeting regularly to talk or pray, study the Bible. It's kind of for our community. It's kind of to go deeper. It's kind of to build trust and relationship. And then the second kind of group that we want to experiment with are what we call communities on mission, which are 2 or more people who are serving a people, place, or purpose that God has given them passion for. Robert's going to talk about those a little bit tonight. But there are all sorts of things, like Young Life, like a music school, like coaching, like serving the unhoused community. It's in these practices that we really discover the depth of faith, and we meet the kind of people who need to know Jesus, who don't want to come to church on Sunday. And we get to go and meet Jesus to them. We want to help learn as a community how to live in a rhythm of mission that is not overwhelming or just doing more church, but is life-giving because it's flowing out of what God is calling you to do and saying to you in this moment in your life. Which for some of you might not be anything right now. And you're not expected to sign up for every community on mission. You're expected and invited to ask the Holy Spirit, what is he doing in your life? Any questions?
Are those all in person or were those being virtual as well?
We want to make the tables virtual or in person as it's best for people. It could be a FaceTime or Zoom call twice a month to kind of say, how's your soul? How's your faith in Jesus? It could be very quick. It could be a dinner every week. This is why we have these forms out and a QR code, because we want to help figure out what's best for you right now and get you matched with people from both of our churches who fit kind of what's going on in your life. Yeah.
True.
Yes.
What are your doubts in business?
My doubts?
Your doubts in your concerns?
I always have the concern, 2 concerns as a pastor. One, that church will just become an hour on Sunday.
Not if you don't go on Sunday.
That's true, thank you, yeah. That church will become an hour on Sunday, and it will be something we are just trying to fit into our life. Yeah? My other worry is that we do too much and get tired.
That is my concern too, especially if you're a partner with other have something like
Yes.
and small leadership.
Yes.
And you're asking more people to do their gifts to
Yeah.
support. Smaller churches in the past, and I'm sure you already talked to our leader. We have experience burnout.
Yes.
And when, to be honest with you, seeing this,
Yes.
it looks overwhelming and fast paced. And I'm hoping you're asking us to just start small
Yes,
and take it slow.
absolutely,
Right, right.
absolutely. I think whenever you try and be a church that is reaching out more or creative, you can accidentally say to people, or people can hear, you have to do everything. And I will just repeat, that is not what anyone is saying. You might have a piece of the puzzle based on your capacity and what God is saying to you right now. And we just want a framework that will fit that. That's why we're trying to have different kind of pieces of the puzzle. Because if we just say we're just doing one thing, that might not fit what God is doing in your life. So these things are not so much like, okay, you need to fit it all in your calendar, do everything, sign up for everything. Think of it more like a set of tools. Okay? A set of things, right? So there might be people who they're not ready to come on Sunday. They're not really wanting to come to the family gatherings, but they would be great to bring to a table. And that will be their church participation. And that's great. You might look at this and say, I'm not going to do any of that. That's okay. It's okay. I think part of adapting this language is because between our churches, we want to have a shared framework. So some of the things that New Life Church has been doing, like Bible studies, we kind of want to organize those under tables so that we're kind of having a shared kind of framework of how we're guiding all of these different pieces. Because sometimes churches, we start a bunch of things and they're not connected or we're not sure why, we're just doing them. And so this is more like a framework to already organize what New Life is doing, not to add more. Yes.
You know, all pastors are familiar with little gifts
Yes.
and spiritual gifts. Are you taking it concerted what you're presenting to those who have gifts, or are you expecting from more people coming that God already gave you events, new gifts coming?
I think both. I think, I sat in on a board meeting with New Life a couple months ago. And Lewis was actually making a comment that when we said we want to work together, he said, I'm glad that we're going to do that because I don't necessarily feel like we're going to be this missional people or reach people and you can kind of do that and we can kind of help each other. And I think one of my concerns as a pastor is people see this and they don't think they fit. Or they don't think that God wants to work uniquely through their gifts to be a blessing. Which is why we've tried to organize something like Community on Mission around what you're passionate about. What gives you life? What are you already doing that you can think intentionally about that will serve kingdom, serve people? And then weave that together. It doesn't mean you need to just start, everyone needs to be in the soup kitchen every Wednesday night doing that. It's actually, for me, in my mind, and it will take a bit of adjusting to, it's actually a framework or a way of actually helping people engage their gifts. Because it creates room for a diversity of different expressions of church in the kingdom of God. It might not work. Maybe. And we'll get together and we'll say, what should we do or not do? It's okay. We might have 10 communities on mission in a year. We might have 2. That's okay. It's really okay. We're trying to just create a framework, a way of being that gives room for God to move in empowering people to be on mission. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to overload. Right? Not trying to do that at all.
Okay, so I'm, I guess you say young Christian. I don't know what a God's kingdom is completely. My
Yeah.
question is, will you be that during your time?
Yes.
You have all
Like-
the answers?
I don't have all the answers. Like understanding what does it look like when God's kingdom is coming in our life.
Yes, and also, there's always that part where they say to love Jesus, but also surrender, or that church language. And I'm trying to figure out what the heck the church language actually means.
Yes.
There is the cultural language.
Yeah.
So I wish, I personally,
Yes.
that we don't talk like the church language, but
Yes.
we can't help it because it's in the Bible. And
Yes.
those who understand the Bible.
We're stuck with that thing.
We're stuck with it because that sentence means a lot.
Yes.
But if we're gonna get new believers.
Yeah.
We don't want to scare them, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, if I wanted to invite a friend, I don't know how to explain the kingdom of God to them.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a new mission. How can I don't know how to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is a beautiful point, and I think the reason we want to take baby steps in these directions, as we're able, is because no one knows how to do that. No one has cracked the code on places like the Bay Area, or New York, or LA, or Frankfurt, Germany, or London. It's not like there are many communities that say, man, this secular Western culture, this is easy. I don't know. And to be honest with you, what I hope my life work is trying to give an answer to how the church can be faithful in the Western world right now. And I think I'm going to die not knowing how well I succeeded. Because when you look at church history, when we're in seasons of change like we are in the Western world, it's like a century or two where people are kind of not sure of how church is going to look. And so for me, it's like, let's get out there. Let's have the conversation. Let's use different language and then report back, right? And see, how should we change how we preach and talk and organize? Like, I don't know. I do know that, I mentioned our friend Nicole who showed up. And when I met with her for the first time, I shared the gospel in a way I have never talked about Jesus in my life. I felt a little new agey. I was like, this sounds weird, but it's just kind of coming out. It resonated a little bit, I think. And I learned from that. I'm totally a church kid. Like, I'm kingdom, mission, atonement. Like, it's just spilling out. I have to filter it. That's probably why Germany was good for me, because my language was really broken. So I could only use really simple words. And so I don't know, Amber. I think this is like, let's wander out as we have energy, as God's giving us the ability, not burning out, but kind of in the flow of the Spirit, and see, like, as these different ideas for communities and missions spring up, like, what does God do? And then tell these stories and learn from it. And so there will always be a bit of an experimental, laboratory kind of feel to this. Because we don't really have another option.
It's all a chance, huh?
Yeah, we want to try something. Maybe kingdom's gonna feel like the word for a bunch of people. Maybe they hear that and they love that. I don't know. Bible reading for 40 and under in the Bay Area is up like 10% right now. I don't know. Maybe Bible language will be actually really helpful. I don't know.
Table is a really cute name. I think we need a short, cute name for the other thing too.
I think that's great. I suck at making up good names.
Well, I have to come up with something, because, a table, I could invite someone to a table. A community on mission sounds kind of churchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We used it in Germany because it was in English and so it sounded like a different language.
Well, we can use the German term.
Yeah,
Because people really do want to do service projects.
yes.
Maybe we need to use
I-
the word service or something.
This is where we want to be a community that is talking about these things. That it is not me or Robert or Jake or someone in a room just laying it all out. I've had to do some work to get us started. But I want to figure out, what do we think this is? And name it that. What does God do? And name it that. And if community mission works, great. If you want to call it mission projects or whatever, I don't care. I'm just trying to help get us started. I want to see a community that is creating and discussing and telling stories and trying stuff, and figure out, what does God do? Maybe we'll scrap the whole rhythm, and we'll have a different way of doing things in a year. But what won't change is this kind of cultural values that we're going to rely on the Holy Spirit. We're going to love well. We're going to be present to our world with the energy and capacity that we have. And we're going to empower people to be the means by which God's kingdom comes. There's kingdom again. That it's not about me preaching. It's really not. It's one piece of the puzzle. It is about who you all are and what you do throughout your life. Yeah. I love giving my life to helping you do that, but the answer is in the room. It is not up here. Yeah.
Maybe it's in the room.
Maybe it's in the room.
I guess.
I think it's in the room.
On that.
We are a little late. This is why I did plan a good amount of time for this conversation. Why I wasn't super practical to mix it. I do think we should worship now. A couple songs. I think we can pull off a couple songs. You've kind of heard all of these things. You've asked questions. Let's take some time at the start of this journey, for many of us, just to kind of come before God as you are. Just present yourself. I love that picture of Jesus feeding the 5,000. A little bit of bread, a little bit of fish, but faith and thanksgiving and gladness. And that opens up room for God to work. So I invite you just to worship now. To set your intention, praise God, and then we'll take some time to close this evening.
Eyes of the blind, there's no one like
just saying these words after a little space of like just reflecting on what we believe you're making us into as a church community, and just like questions that arise, and the confession of uncertainty and the unknowns. To be able to say that you're greater than whatever we might face. To be able to say you are holy, set apart, and there's no one like you. I invite you to show us your heart, to lead us in your love to those around us, stepping out onto the waters, trusting that you are taking us somewhere, you're holding us, guiding us, and we can, because of who you are, step out. And so, all the more, we find reason to just turn to you and say, you're great, you're holy, you're worthy, we love you. And I will build my life, we will build our lives on what you have said, what you have done. It's a firm foundation. And you will build your church. We just commit to just being yours, however that looks. So keep on guiding us, keep on leading us. We trust you, we praise you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
The speed run.
So, Emma, you asked a very good question, and we try to show in the culture that we live, we try to be sensitive to the spirit, right? I think I heard one of the questions being asked, and it's a very good, maybe one of the most important questions that we can ask. How do you come up with all this stuff, right? Why do you do or plan the things we plan to do? So we hope that the answer is because we feel the Spirit leads us into it, right? And so now we try to practice it even at this moment. We don't go into the next teaching session, for example. I won't share more than what has already been shared. Why? Because we sense in this room, and not only Danny and me, we hear from Crystal, maybe others with the feedback, we try to read the room, but we try to read what's happening here. And when we sense and we hope, we sense together, it's not just Danny and I, not Danny and I, Mr. Taylor, not three pastors, but a community sensing together and listening and following where the Spirit leads, right? And the leaders sometimes have maybe more experience in doing so, or maybe more sensitive, but not always. That's a great thing, because sometimes the lay people in church, the ones that maybe sit quiet in the back row, maybe are the ones who listen best to the voice of God, right? Because that's what they do. They're silent, they sit in the back and listen. So we won't have another teaching lesson tonight. We already had a lot to teach, and also, it's a lot sometimes to process, right? So one thing I can also answer to one question, if it feels fast, it won't be fast. We, for example, think, when we talked about it, we were even thinking of taking an entire year to just preach and talk about these 4 cultural values. Not 4 Sundays, not 4 months. We're talking about an entire year on this theme. Because it's a huge thing to change a culture or to learn what cultural values are, talk about them, contemplate them, practice them, reflect on them. It's big, right? If you come from Germany to the US or from the US to Germany, you know these cultures have built over centuries. And they are great, but they took time. So we also want to take our time because it's the foundation. If you rush with the foundation of a house and build the nicest house on the planet, we are even in the earthquake area, so all the foundation is key. And so we want to take time to build a foundation, and the foundation is trust. We may have the nicest projects if you don't trust each other. We need to see some roots of success. But we need a deep, deep rootedness in each other and in God, right? In Germany, just to let you know, we did 10 times the speed of what we're doing here. We're maybe one of the fastest churches that you can ever work for. But it burns you out. You achieve a lot, but it has also cost. So, because we have experienced all the good of it, to be fast-paced, to do a lot of things, we also know the flip side. Danny and I, Drizzle, to some extent, we have experienced that. And so we want to slow down and take time. We try to listen to that, because we are much faster. But that also may not be good for us. Our own soul, and the soul needs to catch up. It's a phrase I think they use in psychology. The soul takes a lot of time to catch up to what's happening. So we slow down. We slow down and take time. And we have all the time, because no task we don't have to accomplish 4 sessions a day. We want to be following the Spirit of God in the pace that God has. That's the key. That's what all we're looking for. If that's a task, then that's on the task. We don't want to check off a task list. We want to establish a new way of living, a new way of being the church, right? It's not happening through tasks. It's happening through abiding in the presence, through listening and following. And also to each other, right? That's very important. So we try to do that. You can lead from the front and run and hope everyone is following you. And also lead from the back, where you adopt the pace of the flock. And both of it, I think, has its good sides and also its risk and challenges. So we slow down, even tonight. You heard enough, I think, tonight, so we want to give more space even for reflecting and thinking on these things. Because we're so glad that we have these voices, we have Amber, we have Gloria, we have others, and people do that. Right? Even asking, why is it called community submission? We can spend our 10 hours of talking about it, and we need maybe. Because I think you can call it 18s, you can call it love in action, you can call it whatever you want, but it should come out of the Spirit of God through us, through these conversations, through prayer. And so we will take that time, we will do it. We give God the time and the space because He deserves it. And we'll do it now. So we continue to ponder a little bit. So one of the ideas, maybe is just sit together outside on tables and talk about this stuff. Have a conversation, think about it, ask more questions, or do it even now. Some of you had thought and maybe had not asked the questions, but we won't do it. Continue. No rush. I think Danny preached about that. It's not that long ago, right? About the urgency of the gospel, but we also have the patience and the trust in God. That's the practice. That's part of the culture we're establishing or practicing. No stress. So what other questions, what other thoughts came up while we were listening, while you were talking? I know, surely there's some. I haven't had this time to speak, so let's continue. If there's more comments or questions. Olivia.
What's the German way of saying community? What's that? Missions only?
I'm community mission.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, when we guys or the pastor group, sit around the table in Germany, we have all these discussions for hours. And a lot of fights, like a really aggressive tone at times. And you were thinking, what is a good term? Really, what is it? But at the end, you have to agree on something because you also have to market it, right? So we never use the German one.
Well, what does it sound like in German?
It's Communities-Gemeinschaft, but the thing is, it's also Gemeinde. It depends on how you understand it. That's the subtleties of the German language. Because a community, if it's a faith community, it's still a community, it's different than a worldly community. But community is what it is, and community is something that doesn't sound too weird or strange for many people. They want community, it's cool, I want a community. And when we think about mission, we know all the startups, all the Silicon Valley companies, they have a mission statement. It doesn't feel too churchy, but maybe it is. A combination of community and mission. So we are not married to that term, we can give it up. I like A-Teams, for example, much better. I think it's cool. Adventures, A is the Alpha, it's the Adam, a lot of biblical stuff in it, but just another name for whatever you want to do. I like Love in Action, but then it sounds maybe cheesy or like Netflix is, you know, afterwards. We're not married to these things. We want to be spirit-led in using it, but it has, of course, a lot of theological depth and thinking or beliefs of some people. And it's used, and there's trainings, what we develop on the website, the platform. It's not the worst, but it's maybe another one that we may like home. We may have noticed, we even started with a different term for tables, right? Danny and I, we meet every Monday, we talk sometimes about these things, and should we use discipleship bands, good old term, and a very powerful, you know, established term that during Wesley time was used, but table is a good one. Very neutral, it's sensible, we sit around the table. We love it, so we changed it. We talked about discipleship bands. We just changed it. It's really better. So we're willing to change other things. What other questions do you have, Olivia, other than the children?
I don't have any questions, but what about like comms?
Comms, that's what we use. We use, yeah, COM is what we use, comms.
Yeah.
Like short, and then
Yeah.
it's the other one.
And when I think of comms, I think like the military term comms, like
Comms, I
communication.
think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that.
So,
Comms.
Yeah, communications, right?
but I was saying like the whole purpose of community and mission is to make connection, to
Yeah.
foster discussion, to multi-purpose.
Is there like the ideal profile of what a member of Trinitas looks like or does? Like, this person is like the quintessential Trinitas member, they do this, and this, or not?
I would surely say not, but when you talk about in marketing terms, I'm not sure who has a marketing background, in marketing terms, it's called a persona. What we do. Startups in the Silicon Valley, they create what's called a persona, which is the ideal customer that they market their product or their service to. Right? And the persona is described by a specific name, and then you come up with all their life stories so you can describe them precisely. But I don't think in a church you can, and I also don't think you should, because it limits you. Because we can give examples maybe from our experience in Germany. We have people who couldn't even speak German, right? Someone from a Muslim country, Farsi background, Iranian, would be totally different if you would describe them than me. Yet in a way we are both ideal if we want to serve other people, if we want to live out in our love in action, the kingdom values, then I would say maybe you can bring it down to the term that you want to be a disciple, then you need to define what that means. Love God, love people. I think you cannot narrow it down more than that because it would exclude people and it would reduce us to something that we aren't, I think. And I guess a question that Amber had, I think you asked it, or maybe I heard it like that. There's people who have never been to a church, right? But those are the ones we want to reach. But if they've never been to a church, how can you use church language? Right? It's a challenge. Because you want to communicate, you want to talk about something they don't know anything about.
If you ask Jesus what his disciples were, how to characterize them, he would say, without faith and slow to learn.
That's your description. Without faith and slow to learn. Wild bunch of people. And I think that that question is so important because we mainly want to reach people that are not coming to church. So the question how to communicate it, right, that's a question, it's key. Because in our German church in Germany, certain words are, for example, forbidden. If you will talk about the love of Christ or still pastor, we get really angry with it. Especially if you do it in a coffee shop. You know, people walk into a coffee shop and you say, we need the blood of Jesus. To someone who never heard anything about church. What do they feel like? Right? Even some songs we would take off of our song lists because they might be irritating, weird, or theological. So, but some can do that easier, some can do that. So you're actually blessed, Amber, because you're not as spoiled as a pastor who has been infiltrated by all the theological terms. I'm a bit blessed too, because also not so it's a blessing and also a burden at times, right? But it's good because you can maybe talk in very simple ways of your faith, and they get it, because you don't even use the terms. But at one point they need to look in the Bible and they need to talk about it, right? And it's important because the words also distinguish us from the world, because we don't sound like a Silicon Valley enterprise. We don't like a Netflix movie. We sound different. We are different. And that's good because they need to know that. So I think that's the question I heard from several. What do we do with new people? Alan asked me that several times. He said, we need to have a table where it's like that. Right? If you talk about the blood of Jesus, you can. But you have to talk in a way that they get it. So how do you do it?
Well, in a way they don't run away from it.
Also. But I think often it's not so much the concern, you maybe sometimes have the concern, how do we explain it all? But you know that a lot of things are not taught, but they are taught. I think you heard that term when you talk about it. A lot of things are not taught, they are taught. Means you observe, you watch, and you get it. Right? Imitating, seeing what others do. We may not theoretically get it, but we practically see it.
What is the result of our faith? What is the result?
The result of our faith.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people need
It's here.
we need to show the love for our neighbor, and the people can realize what is our church. We love our neighbor.
Love and peace is what, and justice, and say the three main things is if they see us loving,
I think the church knows the rulers. You can hear, you are this kind of person. No, our church must be open to receive all the people.
and that's how,
All love.
yeah, and I think that's how a lot of our activities I call it now in Germany, how they were, making the rounds. People talk about it. If you have people that are unhoused, they live on the street and you love them, they talk about that. They know something is different about them. I don't understand. We have a lot of people, I think they can say, I don't understand what they're talking about. I don't get it. But they get it that you really love them. That's what you want to say, right? They understand the language of love. Everyone does.
Well, the act of love, right?
Or the act of love. We have a lot of people, from Iran who could speak any German, but they understood from their hearts that we love them. And someone has said, when we sit with you in a room, we can sense the love. When they're spiritually sensitive, we can sense love. Every person can, even when they're spiritually not sensitive. Because you can still feel it. Physically, emotionally, and sometimes they could spiritually know you're different. They told us many years later when they could speak German, that when we're sitting with you, and any share one example of thing, when they enter the room, their fears are gone. For example, they can sense it. Or we have people, they sit with me and they drink tea, and maybe a year or 2 years later, when they can talk German, they say, I sense the presence of peace when you come to my house. I couldn't explain them anything theologically. I didn't know much theology anyway at this point. But you can love them and they know it. And the interesting thing is not just we give love, we experience love by giving it. That's the teaching of Simon. That's the thing. Any other comments? I talked too much. The time hooks the community.
I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of full, I need time to digest and.
Yeah.
think about
Yes.
things, right?
Yeah. That's why we can also stop. It's like even if you have the best menu and you eat too much,
Exactly.
and you look at it and it's still yummy food, you don't want it, it's too much. Now what? You take a break, pause, the next day maybe you eat it. But we can do that easily in little chunks. And just need to slowly control. So we do that. What about all the young guys? I would love to hear from them. Any thoughts? Any comments? Are you on fire to go out and change the world? Yes.
Wouldn't mind a fire.
Very hesitantly. It's good. I hope you. Any of the old guys? It's on the class, so you don't need to answer, you don't get any grades. But it's interesting to hear, right? The other ones, you know,
The traditional church try to follow many rules. But the people can invite the church because they know no puede cumplir. They can't be fulfill. But the new leaders must accept every kind of people and shape the law. Then they can change. Not close the door for the people.
Did you hear it? He spoke about the rules, because usually rules in religious terms, you could say laws, maybe the rules that you have to follow, but you cannot, right? And so if you want to join that group with all the rules or policies or you want to call, you know you can't. You cannot fulfill all of that. It's impossible. And so we are invited to lead through other ways, right? Through the love, the unconditional love, and then they will change over time, you know. They become holy. They don't enter holy, they become holy. Let's take a break and digest all the good stuff that we heard. And tomorrow we'll continue. Enjoy the fireside. We have a barbecue, I think.
Oh, we haven't lit it yet. Somebody needs to light
Fire
it.
the fire. And you can continue to talk and have discussions with the early ones. Maybe one last thing, if you have questions or things that come up, just write them down. Bring it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
One last thing.
one last thing. Thank you all for listening and engaging. Now I'm gonna preach. No, I'm just kidding. I think I did find this out. I found this out through Amber that there is a approaching birthday in the room. I guess. And Olivia and Amber wanted to
Oh, we're
honor
gonna.
that. And so I think we should all sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Hang out, talk, chat around the fire, talk about church or whatever else. We're done this evening. A couple things for the morning. We do need to be packed up by breakfast time. I know it's a little early. We do need to be packed up by breakfast time. Packed up means that your stuff is out of your room.
What time?
And that's it.
Is that 8 o'clock?
Early. And then we will go have breakfast, and then there's a chapel upstairs in the office area, and we'll have our last session up there. And then we will head out. So enjoy each other tonight, and we'll see you at breakfast at 8.
One more thing, anybody wants cupcakes or more cupcakes?
Oh.
Right, so, yeah.
And your friend.
Well, yes.
What's that?